on computer. Okay, and then I'll do, once we are live, I will do an introduction. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'll just share to my group as soon as we're live here as well. Okay, hello, everybody. I am so thrilled to be sitting here with one of my, I'll say, newer clients who has completely blown me away over the last couple of months since we've known each other. This is Tabitha Goldsmith, and I asked her to be on the podcast today because she actually just graduated from my marketing intensive coaching program. She has joined my mastermind, but she is in a very unique position, I think, in a couple of different ways, namely for the fact that your business is pretty new, as she's going to be sharing with you guys today. And she's done everything she's going to talk about today while raising 8 children, which to me just blows my mind. And I just think you have so much insight and wisdom to share. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we met, well, it was like either January or February, because you started working with me in February. So tell us what the couple months or what life before was like.
Sure. So I have always had a business, and in the fitness arena, I've been training in what I consider coaching for over 20 years, group fitness, all of the fitness things, but it was really just kind of part-time on the side at my own discretion. And when I look back, it really was kind of a in a safe capacity. It seemed impossible to even dream or desire for something more or greater for several reasons. One, I think just limiting beliefs, but also it's easy to justify with family and lifestyle that it's having a few clients is sufficient. But I decided through 2020, I think everybody had their own experiences with 2020, but it certainly changed things for me. And I was searching for something more. I knew that I was struggling, and it brought me to life coaching and for my own personal growth, really in the capacity of relationships. And then that kind of brought me, and I also during COVID gained 15 pounds, and I had already, we're foster and adoptive parents. So I had gained, probably another 10 to 15 pounds throughout the course of the year prior to that with some of the placements that we had. So just an emotional roller coaster, and food was a comfort, and I was ready for change, found life coaching, and decided this is what my clients need. They need more work in the mindset capacity, which I always shared, but I didn't know fully how to connect kind of the know how to do it and apply it when you're walking through something challenging. So I went through my own, I guess, transformation, you could say.
Yeah.
And I decided in the fall of 2021 to join a program that would help me kind of launch my life and health coaching practice, I called it. So I started that in January, and I thought it went amazing. It took off pretty quickly. I think I had 14 consultations. I had booked, so I did something kind of unique, and I booked a lot of consultations in the month of January, and I had 14 like bumpy no's. And then I got my first yes within a couple of weeks. And then it kind of grew from there. Your confidence, your belief started to grow.
But let's have everyone just stop in here. 14 no's.
Yeah.
In a row. And you kept going. I had 9, so you beat me.
I had to think about it. I was like, it was either 14 or 16, the number.
Yeah.
But I think it was 14, because I think 15 was my very first life and health coaching client. And I signed up packages of 12 weeks. We would do one-on-one sessions. I, of course, did their fitness stuff, your training, your macros. But what I was really most excited about was this coaching aspect of having a relationship and digging deeper into what thoughts create the results that you have and why. So she signed up with me specifically over anxiety. She had been a fitness client for years on and off, but after her, I signed a lot of clients up. I said I was going to take 10 and I ended up with 15 by the end of February. And I thought, this is way too much work. Like, I am doing a lot. I don't know how. I know lots of coaches who coach one-on-one. I don't know how they do that, but with 8 kids, my youngest is 3, my oldest is 13. So within 10 years, we have 8 kids. We adopted 4 biological, because people always ask,
yeah,
how do you have so many in that span? But through that, I felt like my business was really off to a great start. I thought it was going amazing, but I wanted to scale in a group setting, and I didn't know what that looked like. And I just feel like it was, we were divinely connected in the time that
totally.
I came across you, and it worked out perfect. And then my mind was just blown, because I thought I was doing fantastic in the first 2 months of the year. And then,
well, you were doing fantastic. So I just want to acknowledge that. I mean, that's really, truly amazing from the start. Obviously, you had something of value, but I honestly think that, like what you shared about having 14 or so people say no in a row before getting your first sale, and the fact that like you just kind of kept going, that to me is one of the greatest indicators of whether or not someone is going to be successful. Like, because there are many coaches who, when they are just starting their business, if they had that experience, they'd be done, they'd be out, right? Because they're like, after probably half that, because they're like, it's never going to work, or like, I'm not good enough, or like all the imposter syndrome stories. What were you kind of thinking when it was just no, 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 no?
Yeah. It's funny, I'm not sure I even like sat on that or even made it in my head, but probably because I did a lot of work prior to that. And when
like mindset work, right?
Mindset work. When I decided to launch my business, it was a done deal. And because I'm kind of it's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. So I got another no. I'm just that yes is coming. And it wasn't even, I mean, when I would kind of evaluate my consultations, and I knew they were bumpy. I knew that there were things I didn't do as well as I could have, but how do we learn? I mean, I think that's the same concept I'm sure you come across with your clients. It's kind of that messy action. Like when I'm working with people and they mess up and they don't track their food, who cares? We don't always have to track our food. We're not, it's not like a phone that is doing the work. It's forward movement. It's that progressive. We have to do something better than we did yesterday, or move ourselves closer to that person we are becoming, versus sliding back into safety. And the 14 days to me really were just, they're coming.
Stepping stones.
They're coming. Like, I know that I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to do this. I know. And I really had to keep telling myself, I have something to offer. I have experience. People are signing up for consultations with a reason. There's a purpose that they're signing up. And so I just had to hold on to, even though they said no, they don't see the value yet, but I'm just not showing them the value. I'm still learning that. And so I don't know. It's a weird, maybe it's almost like a blind trust that I had.
It is. And I had that same experience, really, especially like when I was starting my gym, and actually in starting this company as well. And I think it comes down to, there is like a blind faith component to it for sure, which is really helpful. And part of it's just because you're so new and you're just naive and you're like, of course it's going to work. Other people are doing it. It's fine. Right. And you tend to not get so much in your head that way. But also I think what was going on for you, and I know what was true for me, and I know this is true for my most successful clients, is that you had made a decision. Like, you were already in the decision that this was going to work, and it was just a matter of time. And like, nothing was going to alter the possibility of that decision that you had already made.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. It was kind of, I made the decision, but I didn't know, I didn't have an expectation or a timeline. I had a goal. I hit my goal for January, but there was certainly some doubt in between there, but I just thought, well, we're going to keep going.
Yeah. Look, the doubt is normal. You're human, right? So it wasn't just like you were a robot, like this is going to be great, right? All of the emotions come up, but because you had done that kind of self-coaching and that mindset work, that really set you up to be even more successful. So, okay. So then we enter February and you're like overwhelmed with one-on-one calls. You're like, this isn't scalable. So really, I think, the scalability, it felt like, was a really important thing for you coming into my 16-week marketing intensive. But maybe like share a little bit about that, and then like what you did and what you created.
Yeah. You mean how you and I connected,
No,
or
I mean, you can share that for sure as well, but like, maybe what made you say yes? Because you had already kind of been in a coaching program, like things were actually going pretty well the first couple of months, but yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
anything you want to
sure.
share. Yeah.
Well, I think that there's always something to learn.
Mhm.
We never have it all figured out. But I will say my initial thoughts were I'm going to figure out how to scale. And I happened to see a Facebook post or something that you had an ad, maybe. I'm really
Mhm.
not sure. It was a
It's
webinar that
hard
I
to
was,
tell.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just can't even fully remember.
Yeah.
But what I had shared this before we started recording, but what I appreciated with you is I signed up to get the webinar, and you actually reached out through Facebook direct messenger, which is a skill that it's a tool that you teach us in order to build relationship and trust. And I just think that's so valuable and says
Mhm.
a lot about you, but also that's what sold me. It wasn't the webinar, it wasn't anything else. So through chatting back and forth, I just decided again, and it was maybe because I knew the value of making decisions, and I was still practicing that skill set. I still am now. I mean, you and I have talked about different trainings and certifications, but practicing that skill of just deciding, even
Mhm.
entering the mastermind, it was like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, all
Yeah.
these kids at home. I knew I would do it, but I didn't know the timing. So I just decided, and we started, and I mean, it blew my mind what was happening in at first. And I hope a lot of people who maybe sign up for your program can understand. You get the material and you see the work ahead, and it feels nearly impossible at first. I love the emotion of overwhelm. I just
Mm.
my brain and body just like to feel overwhelmed. And then we all have these things that we do when we feel overwhelmed that
Mhm.
might look different for everybody. But because I was aware that this was kind of my go-to, my goal for myself is to just do that one thing, like
Yeah.
one thing today that's going to move me
Mhm.
closer to scaling my business, to creating this online program. And I think having the support of the group and you and just the structure, like it's all laid out. This is what you need. Just follow the
Mhm.
plan. And if you can't follow it exactly, because I wasn't able to. I
Yeah.
literally did what I thought was doable in the moment. So it was kind of like those small bites,
Yeah.
but forward movement of what would get me there. And then I really, I really took that leap of faith of I just decided to start selling the program once I had everything, the outline done. And then I was propelled. I remember you saying at one point, it's like, you'll do it. Like now you've got people signed
Mhm.
up. But I felt so terrified thinking, I have to build this 12-week program. What if I don't get the material out? But we do. We do
Yeah,
what we
you
have to.
always do.
We always.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So basically, you came in and you created your signature group coaching program because you knew that what you were doing was not scalable, not sustainable. And it sounds like it kind of became not very fun pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I
Yeah.
loved one-on-one, but as a mom of 8, I mean, I was anticipating working maybe 20 hours at the most, but I really thought like 10 coaching hours and then maybe 5 prep hours. But I ended up taking 15 clients and then prepping before and after. It just wasn't scalable, and it started to become quite stressful to
Yeah.
do this
Mhm.
one-on-one work. And I think there's value in it,
Totally.
but now I've incorporated it at a higher level. And Hector actually had said something on a coaching call to me about I didn't want to increase my prices for my one-on-one clients. And he had said, I want you to remember that every hour that you charge X amount for your clients, then you're giving your time to them. You're taking it away from your family. And I instantly started crying because
Oh my gosh. You never told me that before.
yeah, no, but I was at the gym because I felt
Yeah.
like that's I fit in calls and do the things when I can. But yeah, no, I thought, okay, no, you're right. I will offer my one-on-one services as kind of a VIP and upgrade,
Mm.
but it's going to be more expensive. And yeah, it's just gone way better than I expected.
Yeah. So, in addition to what you were able to generate your first 2 months in business, I really am just like, I want people to hear it's the mindset. Like that is what
1000%,
that
1000.
is what has set you up for like especially those first 2 months, and then to give you, it's kind of like a brave thing to go create a new program, and now you have the strategy components, which of course you're still implementing. And I mean, I just look at you and I'm like, the sky's the limit. Like wherever she wants to go with this, she can go.
Uh,
And so even just in that first 16-week period, you said like 34K in your new group
yeah,
coaching program.
yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. So like in the first, what is that, 5 months of your business, that's almost $50,000 total.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that just blew my mind.
It's
Just
so crazy,
all of
right?
it. It really has opened up possibility for our family.
Hmm.
I'm still working on my belief of
Totally.
that.
We all
This,
are. Same.
this is, this is like, this is something, this isn't just a fluke. We're going to continue learning the strategy, which is why I decided to jump into the mastermind, because even though I don't know if this is good to share or not, but I really only did about a third of the 16
Yeah.
week program.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that, because the biggest piece was outlining and launching my signature program,
Hmm.
and then the conversion events. And you give us so much value. I mean, I feel like
It's
$6,000,
packed. Yeah. Yeah.
everything that you
Yeah.
give, everybody should just sign up. Like, it's not a big deal. You will get your money
Thank you.
back. And
Thank you.
even if you can't, even if they can't, and I've referred a few people over to you as well. And
Yeah.
the same thing I said to them, it's like, even if you can't do all of the things, or it's not the right timing, you could start to build out things. You could start
Totally.
to, I mean, you can take it at your own pace. It's
Hmm.
not ideal. Like, jump in and just do it, I think, is how we
Yeah.
get it done. But
I used to be like, when I would deliver programs and coaching and things like that, like we're all different personality types, right? And I am like I am the doer, I'm the worker, I'm
yeah,
Enneagram 3, I'm a generator. Like I know all this stuff about myself. And I
yeah,
also don't have kids and things like that. So I am like the kind of person who is just like, let's go. And what I learned a long
yeah,
time ago is that number one, not everyone is like that. And number two, different people have different priorities, right? My business is, well, my dog and my business are my number one priority. For other
yeah,
people, it's going to be something else. And so one of the things that has become, I think, a really important point of communication for me with new clients and with current clients and with clients as they move throughout the program is that it's okay to go at your own pace, right? Which is why we do lifetime access to the program. And because I just never want people to feel like they have to build their whole business in, a couple of weeks, right? Because it's always going to be this ongoing thing. Like, I have to build, I'm building a new webinar this week. Like, it's like this always this ongoing thing.
yeah,
And I just love that you were able to adapt it for your needs, and you really got what you came for, right? Which is
yeah,
creating this
yeah.
program and getting clients. And that is the whether you implement 100% of everything, right, or not, to me it's like you actually got what you came for, and that's beautiful, and I'm just like so celebrating that. So
Oh, thank you. And
yeah.
I think everybody can get what they desire out of the program.
Yeah.
You know, we all want to make money as business owners. That's certainly a component, but I don't think we do this like it's really a service-based industry. We're not
Hmm.
just coaches and mentors and trainers, and it's I think it's relationship built. We go to so
Hmm.
many layers with our clients, and I think that's the work that you do with your clients that creates such possibility
Yeah.
in what we're doing. So, yeah, I mean, for anybody who's in the program or watching this, they all want to get it all done and do it exactly. I mean, I did too. I wanted to, but the reality is I couldn't. And so I recognized that, and I would just game plan, what can I do today? Like, what am I going
Yes.
to do today, instead of sitting in overwhelm and avoiding or buffering away
Hmm.
and staying busy with my kids, which I certainly do. I mean, I hired a nanny only because I was able to with the income. I thought this is worth the money to have
Hmm.
somebody that comes once or twice a week to help, so I can do some work on my business. But just, what is one area that you can focus on today that moves you closer to where you want to go, and then sometimes I just think we need to just jump in the pool, like get in and swim to learn how to do it.
Yeah. So few things I want to just highlight that you said that I think are really important for people to hear, right? Is like not sitting in overwhelm, right? So like, because it's a choice. When you feel overwhelmed, it is something that you have chosen to feel, whether you realize that or not. And it's not a valuable place to stay in, right? Like a lot of those negative emotions, like I always share, mine has always been anxiety, right? For other
Yeah.
people, it's going to be fear, confusion, and that kind of thing. And so just to be able to say to yourself, like, okay, what is the thing I can focus on right now to move me forward? That is such a powerful tool. And, of course, it makes it a little bit easier when you have a plan mapped out for you. But I just think that the way that you have managed yourself through all of this, again, is one of those huge reasons that you've been able to create success at the level that you have. So I think what everyone wants to know, and you mentioned the 1 or 2 day a week nanny, which is super helpful, but that's only been pretty recent,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So you built a business, you've made over $50,000 in the first half of the year, and you have 8 children between the ages of 3 and 13. Wow. And also, you have personal like fitness goals that you haven't mentioned,
Yeah. I
like
mean, we all
training
love
and
fit.
competing
We
and
all love fitness.
yeah.
It's a fun, yeah. Yeah. So, your question is
Well,
how to,
no, like are you still competing actually? Because I know that you have.
I would love to. I have
Okay.
competed. I opted to not compete this summer. I really
Yeah.
wanted to, but
Yeah.
we're doing lots of fun camping
Yeah.
and trips and
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
So,
Okay.
but
So
it'll come.
let's add that to the stack, right? So also like you're very committed to your health and fitness to the point where you would consider doing competitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
which is
but
huge.
I think all of that helps me just become a better coach for myself or
Yeah.
for my clients.
Yeah.
In the fitness piece, I mean, I love the sport of bodybuilding, but I truly have never, even pros that I know in this sport, I, of course we all want to win. I would love to win. I would love to get my pro card, but I also know that I do this because it just pushes me personally, like emotionally, mentally. But I've never met anyone that's done it as long. I mean, the first time I competed was over 20 years ago. I did
Yeah.
figure, and then I took a 15-year gap, had 4 kids, and then I competed a couple years back to back. And I haven't competed since 2017 now.
Yeah.
So I was prepping this year, but I was going to compete in COVID. Then I decided no. So part of that is just really personal growth stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Totally. Totally.
but again, maybe it goes back to doing that one thing that moves you forward or that energizes you to become your best self that day. And I think managing my mind and having some structure to what my day looks like and being intentional about what I want it to look like, and then kind of creating that, even if it doesn't go the way we plan it, because it never does. I mean, I
Yeah.
always have a
Totally.
sick kid. I always have kids fighting. I always have somebody hungry in the middle of a home workout, which I don't like doing, but I love to go to the gym. They watch my kids for 2 hours. I can shower. But we just do the best that we can. So I prioritize what's most important to me. So that's typically my quiet time, my morning routine in the morning that sets intention for the day. A lot of that is now in the summer, just going outside and walking. So
Mhm.
I love to pray and connect, to read my Bible, do a devotional, be really clear on what my one thing is for that day. And it might just simply be sending out an email to my signature program clients or my email list, which is very small. And I will say I'm still working on being consistent with that. You talk a lot
I'm
about
6 months
nurturing.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of work to do there, but we always
Yeah.
have something. So
Yeah, exactly.
just I set that intention of what I want to achieve that day. And then I think when you're intentional about it, you find space in your
Mhm.
day to do it. We waste a lot of time.
That is so, so true. Yeah. And I don't know if you have like any other insights or tips, because those are three huge things, right? Having the personal time, self-care, workout time that I know you're so committed to, having a business that you're building and, working with a good number of clients now and really implementing marketing strategy and stuff like that, as well as raising 8 kids. So it's like the intentionality, I think, is absolutely huge. What else? Like, how else do you make all the magic happen?
Well, okay. I also want to say I have an amazing husband
Yeah.
who is phenomenal. And him and I talked quite a bit in what my business would look like. And when I decided in December, I really wanted to launch this life and health coaching practice. His initial response was, why don't you wait a couple years until the toddlers are in school full time? Like that was his, and my husband, I'm more jump in. Let's do it. Even, I mean, like I said, we're foster parents. Although we are not taking any more placements unless God was really clear about that. But my husband's just more conservative and really thinks through things deeply and likes to, I mean, just, we all have different personalities. So, he wanted me to wait, but we thought, if I could get a nanny, if I was able to make enough money in January that I could maybe hire somebody for February, 1 day a week, which is what I did, we could make this work. And so I really just, I think being intentional, a lot of thought work within myself. And I don't know, you talk a lot about this, you coach a lot about this. I had that through my own experience and through, my own personal journey. And then it grows with what you share. It's like, yes, like I can resonate with a lot of the things that you say to kind of get out of that stuck point and keep moving forward. Kids can be really independent. I think as parents, this is maybe getting in on a different topic of parenting.
I think it's good for everyone listening who has children because it's not a topic I can speak on.
Well, I think it's very easy to think we can control our children and that makes us feel safe and a good parent, but we can't. The only person that we have control over is ourselves.
Yep.
And I will sometimes literally say, if my kids are throwing a fit, you may go outside and leave, and you want to run away, you can. They don't, mind you. I'm a really good parent. Okay. I've got strategy and how they don't run away. And my kids are they're incredible. They're incredible humans, but we're raising humans. That's what we're raising. So they have to learn the skill set of standing on their own 2 feet and making choices for themselves. So if you want to walk out and you want to pack and leave, that is your choice. Just know there's a consequence to everything, good or bad. So when you get into bed decent and you get a good amount of sleep, it's a good consequence. You wake up refreshed, you have a better attitude, you're not as snippy, so you don't get in trouble, Otherwise, if you decided to run away, there's probably going to be a consequence. Like some police officer might have to come and get you and bring you home. That has never happened, but I think it's, as parents, we could save ourselves so much time not trying to manipulate and control our children to make ourselves feel safe, because it really comes back as a reflection to how we want to feel. So we think we can control them to make ourselves feel better, but that's not the reality of this world that we live in, or how I think God designed it. So being a parent, to me, there's been no greater personal growth tool, class, training, other than real life experience and just getting in and learning how to manage and regulate your own emotions in a way that is modeled for your kids, even when we mess up. I mean, I haven't worked out in over a week. We were camping for a week with everybody. I knew I wanted to get ready for this interview. And so my kids were doing their chores and I took the toddlers and went out for a quick 15-minute walk because I wanted to just reset my heart. And I literally tell them, I say, I am feeling very stressed out right now. Mom, you guys get done. You know what to do. You do a great job. Just check the chore chart. They all have one daily chore that takes them 5 minutes. Everybody does. And then they can make money if they want to do any extra chores, $1 for vacuuming, $1 for putting away the clothes, whatever it is. They don't take me up on that very often, but it's an option. They would like it. But then I can go reset and they see me and I'll watch my kids do this. I'm feeling very frustrated right now. I'm going outside, or I'm going to go in my room and reset myself and come back downstairs. And when I hear that come from the mouth of my 6-year-old or I just think it's kind of cool because they're learning how to regulate their
They're
emotions.
empowered. Yeah. And they're
Yeah.
empowered too. And, you were saying, like, when we were just kind of chatting before we started the recording, you were saying, like, this is a conversation that you have with your clients a lot. And it's a conversation I have, obviously, when I was a fitness coach, but like, it's a conversation I have with business owners as well, which is this whole idea of like getting it all done, right? And having enough time. So would you mind saying again, because it was so good, what you were sharing on that topic?
Oh my gosh. I don't even
Oh,
know exactly.
you were just saying like,
We never get it all done.
right. And then beliefs about time though.
Well, oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I just think I think this is how I used to sit and overwhelm. And I see it with my clients, even with my program online. Some of them do amazing and other ones feel way behind because they're not able to get their workouts in fully or get the modules done. And they don't think they have enough time. So they want to avoid it, but we never really have enough time. We make time for what's important and we have whatever needs to get done. There's enough time for that. Like
Yeah.
we make the time. And I don't remember that quote. It's like, if you say you can, or you say you can't, you're right. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
I don't even remember who said that, but
Henry Ford.
oh, okay.
That
I
was
was
an
gonna say,
approximation of the quote, but yes,
okay.
the
Yeah.
sentiment, yes.
You would probably know the full quote. But really, when my kids even say like, I can't do that, like you are right. You can't do it. But if you choose to figure it out, then you'll be able to figure it out. But if you just sit in that fixed mindset, if you sit in that I can't, and we do this as adults in business, so entrepreneurship is hard. Having your own
Yeah.
business is so much easier to go get paid $50,000 a year, clock in 9 to 5, do the thing and there's also a downside to that as well, many downsides,
Hmm.
but we make time for what's most important for us. I will say, like, I don't watch TV. I haven't in many years. I started an online component, different than this, mainly just fitness coaching, giving you your workouts and your macros or meal plan type stuff in 2015 and 2016. But that was when I had to cut out any TV time, any extra time. And I love social media, but I don't ever scroll social media. I post
Yeah.
and share a lot, but I do that intentionally.
Yeah.
But I don't ever have time to like sit and scroll unless I connect that with like walking on the treadmill or something. And then
Hmm.
it's like a
Hmm.
reward to myself.
Yeah. 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 I love
But
that.
I think we make time for what needs to get done. And I have this grounding thought of I will get done everything I need to get done today.
Mm,
And then the rest will be for tomorrow or the next day. Like, I just don't want to
yeah.
sit in never having enough time.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Yeah. And because you hear this all the time, especially from moms. And look, I get it. It's understandable, right? It's not an experience I've had. I need a lot of sleep. Um, but it's like you have learned how to choose the most important things. You've also not told yourself the story that there isn't enough time, and you give yourself limited time to get things done, which actually creates more efficiency.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
It's prioritizing that one thing, and it might be something really simple.
Yep.
And I know that will get done today, but even if it doesn't, so even if it was like sending an email out and now it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm exhausted and I choose to go to bed and close my computer, I know the first thing that I might get up early the next day and get that done. So I tell my clients it's flexible in the method, but non-negotiable in the goal, non-negotiable in the vision. Like, what do you want? And you get to create that,
Mm,
but not if we sit in this story of I can't, there's not enough time. Somebody else can because I'm the exception, I'm the hot mess. I have kids, I have young kids. That really is a story. And I say that with the utmost love and understanding. I have kids with special needs, kids with trauma. Uh, before we adopted, it was constant appointments and therapies. And we still have lots of that, but those are non-negotiables. We have to get that done. And then the rest of the stuff, we get to decide what that looks like. And if we would
mm.
just kind of clear our brain and just decide what we want, a lot more of it gets done than what we think. Like a lot more, I mean, I look at that with myself. I literally, in the beginning of your program, there was a period of time where I was like, what did I get myself into? What was I thinking? There's no way I have the ability to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have enough time. But I would put a movie on for 30 minutes for my kids, and I would run upstairs and I would record a module, put a little makeup on it, record a module. And then later that night I would upload it, and it just worked out.
Yeah.
And I was so proud then. I was creating this belief that I actually can get this done and my kids are fine.
Yeah.
They don't need me to entertain them 24/7. They are doing good.
Yeah.
I'm doing something that feels fulfilling for me, and we get it done.
Yeah. And there's like a really beautiful almost affirmation that can come from that, which is I always figure it out, right? Like you have, and you always figure it out, regardless of obstacles and circumstances and all of that, which is such a beautiful thing. And you were saying something else I wanted to come back to that was so good. I mean, it's all so good because it again, it's all that reflection of being in decision. Like we talked about in the beginning, you had made the decision what you were going to create, and you allowed everything else. It's almost like you just trust that everything else will figure it out, and the people around you, and like you'll figure out how to make it all happen. And it's just amazing. And also, I know that people say this too all the time, so I hope it doesn't sound patronizing, but you are you're such a saint for the life that you've chosen to live. Really, truly, it's like the most incredible and selfless life. And with the way that you have brought children into your home, and the way that you just care for other people so much, and the way that I know you deeply work with and care for your clients, like it really is a special thing that you have created. And your business and the way that you work with people and the life that you live is such a beautiful example. And really, it just feels so soul led from my perspective. And I just love you. And I'm just so proud and grateful for you and your time, because I know it's limited. There's probably movies going on downstairs or
no. Thank you. See, my eyes leak. I'm very
I know. I was getting emotional too. I was like, stop talking.
I'm very feelings led, which is probably what brought me to you talk about anxiety a lot. I never realized that I struggled with anxiety. I think we all could struggle with that at different points, but until 2020, when kind of my outlet was stripped away, I had lots of kids that we would go to the gym, even if it was a terrible morning with outbursts and behaviors. Somebody else would watch my kids for a short period. And even if you don't have childcare available, or you don't have a gym available, even if you can strap kids into a stroller and give them snacks for 10 minutes, like something to reset your mind and your heart is so giving. So in 2020, my rhythm was kind of what I knew, how I reset myself was broken. So I struggled with a lot of anxiety, and I felt like that was challenging with some relationships that I was struggling with. And you had talked about circumstances. I mean, we talked about the thought model, the life coach school thought model or whatever, that was really what I was introduced to, that changed how I saw the circumstances in my life. I really felt led by my feelings, and my thoughts were really true. I really felt valid. If somebody that I love says something hurtful, because they're dealing with stuff in their own life, and but if somebody else says something or does something that shook me, I created these thoughts and stories. It would leave me really low and stuck. And I would feel like I needed to fix that. I would somehow need to fix this circumstance in order to feel better. But when I recognized, and now that I do this work with my clients, and I have some that are like, that was so much better than therapy. I've never experienced this before. I don't know how, I don't know why this was never introduced. I didn't know I had this much control over my feelings, but that was my experience too. In 2020, I had did therapy for the first time, and it was great, but I still felt kind of stuck in this space. But now I have clients that I work with that work with me as a life coach and work with a therapist. And it's what we do mirrors each other a lot, and it works beautifully together. But in any circumstance that people are dealing with, if it's time, if it's what somebody says, these stories about not being good enough or somehow not being able to do it, I hear it from people like, I shouldn't be complaining to you. I only have 2 kids. I don't know why I can't make time to work out. it's just a story that you have carried as true, and our brain looks for evidence to prove the thought that we
Mhm.
have.
Mm,
Soon as
yeah.
our we're like, I'm too busy. I have to do all of these things for my kids. I have no time. I have to get sleep. So that's important. That's a priority. Our brain looks for evidence to prove that. And then it feels really real. And it creates these feelings inside of us that move us to action. And if it's not ultimately creating the result we desire, we get to choose a different thought that's also true. There are lots of other thoughts we could choose. Why marinate
Absolutely.
on one that's bringing us to a dead end? So that was very lengthy to describe what I've walked through.
No, it was perfect. And I really think that because, sometimes I feel like it's one thing coming from me, right? Like I'm a business coach and like, obviously like I have a program to sell and stuff like that. But hearing it from someone like you, I think can be even more powerful. And hearing it from someone who's like living that as their truth is just incredible. And it's such a generous thing for you to come here with me today and to share all of this. And I just know that this is going to help so many people. And just thank you, Tabitha. It's
Well,
just such
thank
an
you for
honor to,
having me. I appreciate
yes,
it. It
yes.
was
Oh my
exciting to
gosh.
come on and, thank you. I thought it
So,
was a complete honor to share. I thought
yes.
if you think it would help anybody, that's great. I love that.
Yes. Well, it's an honor to have you in my world. And yeah, just thank you so much for everything. And I look forward to seeing what the next year for us together
I
brings. It's going
know.
to
I'm
be
super
phenomenal.
excited.
We'll have to do an
Super
update.
excited. Yeah,
Awesome.
I always look for updates when I've watched all of your.
I know I don't do them very often, and I probably should.
It's just but I also follow up with people. I'll be like, where are you at now? How are things
Yeah,
going?
yeah,
Some
yeah, yeah,
respond, some don't. But
yeah.
I just think it's so cool because it creates possibility.
Absolutely. And possibility and belief and
Ah,
focus and not getting in your own head. It's all
yeah.
part of that process. So yeah, just thank you again.
So
So
thank you
grateful.
so much. It was an
Yeah.
honor to be on. I appreciate it.
Yes. And like I said, look forward to our next year together. And I'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye,
Awesome.
Tabitha.
Thank you. Bye bye.